On this episode of Hub City Gameday, we will discuss what Charles Huff and the Southern Miss Golden Eagles will accomplish this year, their matchup today with Mississippi State Bulldogs, and our odds-on favorite to win the Sun Belt Conference. Also, for national college football news, we will talk about frontrunners for this year's College Football National Championship and some big matchups going on around the country. All of this and more on this season's episode of Hub City Gameday. Welcome to the Season 2 premiere of Hub City Gameday. I'm your host, Micah Gibbs, and I'm here with...
The man with the plan, Gabe Calhoun, back for Season 2.
And Andy Beverly.
Man, we are back for Season 2, and with us being back, it's a lot of new things that have happened. And I think we can all agree that last year for USM was not great. It was obvious that the changes need to be made. The biggest change that was made by Southern Miss last season was bringing in head coach Charles Huff. Coach Huff was the former head coach of Conference foe Marshall University. Huff had great success at Marshall, beating at the time number 8 Notre Dame in 2022 and winning the Sun Belt Conference last year in 2024. Now, Coach Huff finds himself here in the Sun Belt, heading an initiative labeled Flip the Script. Over the summer and spring, Huff managed to overhaul the Southern Miss roster, bringing in multiple players and coaches in order to flip the script. So, fellas, now that we are here at the first game of the season, how do we think Coach Huff will do as the new head coach for the Southern Miss Golden Eagles? Andy, I'm going to start off with you, my brother.
Man, I tell you, I am excited for Huff Ball and Huff Bird in the Huff City and the Hub City.
Okay.
I got a feeling this is going to be a good rebuild season for the Golden Eagles, something we haven't seen since Todd Monken was here in 2013. I think it's a big step that we're going to take towards greatness, and, man, I am all ready for this flight to the top.
And I'm glad you mentioned old coaches, because an old coach came to Hattiesburg, but we're going to talk about him a little later. Gabe, I want you to talk about our two supposed best players, Braylon Braxton and Josh Moten. Now, for the fans out there that don't know, Braylon Braxton and Josh Moten have received a lot of national hype and a lot of national notoriety. So, Gabe, I was wondering, how do you feel about those players and how they will perform this year?
Braylon is up for a slew of quarterback awards, almost every quarterback award besides the Heisman, but that's not too far of a stretch if he has a season. We've seen Genty do it with a group of 5 team. But for the keys for Braylon to do it, he's going to have those explosive games. I mean, you can't have a 13 for 30 game. You know, Huff likes to run the air raid a little bit. He's going to have to be a dual threat quarterback because those lower conferences, those guys, the gunslingers aren't really doing it. I mean, Bailey Zappi did it, but he threw for right under 5,000 yards when he was at Western Kentucky. So for him, it's going to be an explosive offense, and he has the weapons to do it. For Josh, just play your brand of corner. Play your brand of safety. If they move you to safety at times, you know, we never know what Huff has going on. They haven't really displayed what the team will do. You don't have to be a superhero and try to make every play, but if you can hold the guy in front of you or the two guys, whatever the formation may be, to under 30 yards every game, maybe get a couple picks. If you have to get a couple sacks, if you're blitzing off the edge, that's going to be his key to possibly winning an award.
Yeah, and it's great to see that Southern Miss is getting so much notoriety. And with that notoriety comes a big-time matchup. We have Mississippi State coming in here today. So, fellas, what are our expectations and what are we going to see at 11 o'clock when we kick off?
I expect the Golden Eagles to go into the Rock at 11 o'clock and take care of business. This is a good test for a brand-new head coach and a brand-new team starting right off in a rebuild. It may be a little bit of a challenge. I don't see any game being, a complete shot. There's always just that little chance for a challenge. But I got the Golden Eagles walking away with a win against an SEC opponent, maybe not a prime-time SEC opponent, but still an SEC opponent that I would gladly, and a great rival I would gladly take a W against.
Yeah, of course. And Mississippi State they're not a slouch. They did a lot of work in the transfer portal, and they've done a great job at building a team around Blake Shapen for his final year. But they also have somebody that I'm a little worried about, Kamario Taylor. Gabe, man, you saw him here.
Listen,
for the championship game. Tell me, man.
Listen, watching this kid play, he's electric. Why is he third string right now? That's questions for Levy that he hasn't answered. He hasn't said too much about. Maybe he comes in there as a secret weapon, but And I don't want to say this too early, put pressure on him, but that kid is the closest thing I've ever seen to Lamar Jackson with my own two eyes.
Yeah, he is definitely a player that I will be watching out for if I'm a Southern Miss fan. If I'm a Southern Miss player or coach, I'm looking at him to come in and goal line. I'm looking at him to come in and short yardage because he has the build, 6 foot, whatever, 220,
6'3",
6'4", 220. He's a big guy who can run hard and run fast, as we saw in that championship game, high school championship. So, moving on to the expectations for this season, guys. How are we feeling about 2025? What's the record? What do we think we're going to do? How we think we're going to fare? I'm going to start off with Gabe.
My biggest thing for how we're going to fare, don't listen to the outside noise. They have us 5th in the SEC West. It's really disrespectful. I'm going to say this because you have a team who they were on the weaker side in the East. You know, everybody knows the West is the harder side. You know, you got Troy, who's won it back-to-back, Texas State, and all of their players that they get from money that we don't know where it comes from. South Alabama's not too far from it. And then UL, who is consistent year in and year out. So for us to be ranked 5th in the West, I feel that's a little bit of disrespect. Now, I'm not going to say we're going to go out there and flat out just dominate everybody. You know, that's what I would hope. But for us to make it to the Sun Belt Championship, we're going to have to almost be perfect because they're coming for us. We have the target on our back. The USM Marshals, as our former host Bethel once said. But I feel like we could win it, and possible playoff hopes, depending on what we do for Mississippi State, we have to go completely undefeated. You know how the Group of 5 label is. But yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad Gabe kind of touched on those other teams ahead of us in the conference because my next question was, how do you think we'll fare in the Sun Belt? As you can see, the Sun Belt and the media don't really think too highly of us right now. So, Andy, can you tell me your opinion on that?
You sure you want my opinion?
Of course, man.
Well, I see us doing okay in conference. There's a few teams that are going to sneak up on us. I see a few that we're going to sneak up on them. This is the year we finally beat South Alabama. This is the year we beat Troy since we've been in. This is the year we beat App State again. Just, you know, we're used to that.
Yeah.
I'm excited for conference play this year, and we've kind of been dealt an easier hand in conference play. We do have to play Georgia Southern and Louisiana, 2 games I do think we drop. But overall, I see 8 wins in the total grand scheme of everything. We may not finish top in the West, but we may finish 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah, of course. And this is an interesting season because of like you said, the schedule, and then because of all of the additions we've made and how they gelled and meshed together over the summer. But coming up after the commercial break, we will talk about some national topics and hear from our reporter, Cameron Johnson, who spoke with Coach Huff earlier in the week. Don't go anywhere. This is Hub City Game Day.
Community Journalism Center, amplifying truth and combating false information across Southeast Mississippi, reporting what matters and giving control to the community. With our What is True hotline, we're fighting back against misinformation and disinformation, making sure our communities get the facts straight from the source. Through trusted journalism and a dedicated fact-checking process, we ensure every story is accurate and fair. The Roy Howard Community Journalism Center at the University of Southern Mississippi, reporting what matters through the Scripps Howard Foundation. Visit rhcjcnews.com.
Welcome back to Hub City Game Day. We have a new addition to Hub City Game Day, Cameron Johnson, reporting live from outside the Rock, talking about Coach Huff and his history with upsetting big-name teams. Cameron, talk to me, man.
Big thank you to Micah and the rest of the guys for welcoming me onto the show. On Tuesday in a press conference, Coach Huff was asked to identify what common themes he's noticed in the big games in his past where he's come out on top. To this, Coach noted how big of a factor discipline is. In reference to his past teams, he said, and I quote, "We made our layups, things that we made easy. Once you make your layups, you can be very opportunistic." Hopefully Coach Huff employs that strategy versus Mississippi State. But that's all for me, and back to you guys at the desk.
All right, man. That's Cameron Johnson. Glad to have him here. Now, moving on to a more national topics. Last year, the Ohio State Buckeyes won the national championship. This year, that title is wide open with no clear frontrunner in sight. Fellas, do you guys have anybody that you think is up there? But before we get to the anybody, I think I'm gonna say that for Alvia since she is an Ohio State fan. I want to know y'all dark horses for this year. Who do y'all think nobody thinks has a chance to compete for the college football championship? I'm gonna start off with Gabe.
To not compete at all.
Nobody even thinks
they're
they
not
have
gonna
a
get
chance
close.
to. Nobody thinks they have a chance to even make the 12.
Man, give me San Jose State. I'm just kidding. But honestly, if we're being completely honest, I like Beamer Bowl, man. South Carolina. They have the talent. They have a possible Heisman. We probably can get into that a little later. But like they're doing now, they just got their running back, Rajon Faisal, I believe his last name is. Faison, yep. He's coming back. He got his sign waivers, for his 16th year of college football. You know how that is. But they have all the right pieces to make all the right plays, and with a couple key wins, they can do something.
So just diving deeper into that, you talked about Lenoris Sellers. Talk more about this season and what he needs to do for South Carolina because they have a great defense. They had a great defense last year. What does he need to do to make that offense get over the hump?
He was a little nervous in games last year. He had accuracy issues, a little bit of fumble issues. He had a couple key throws against Alabama that probably would have put them in the playoffs that he just completely missed. Game on line, he threw it right over the wide receiver's head. That being said, he has the talent. Over 3,500 yards passing, 1,000 yards rushing. He is the, as some people like to call him, the Cam Newton of our generation right now. He has to take more command of that offense and just be more accurate. And the defense is there. They'll take him wherever he needs to go if he messes up.
Yeah. So that's a great analysis, man. I'm glad to see I'm happy to see, looking forward to see what South Carolina has cooking up. Andy, who is your dark horse, man?
I did like South Carolina for a while there, and while I do have Sellers picked to win a certain postseason award, I won't go into that right now, but I've seen this team on a few different Final 12s, but I think it's not really looked upon because they haven't done much in the last 25 years. Give me the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
I like that.
They may not win it all, but in my personal thing, I've got them to the 12, and I could maybe even put them in the semifinals against Clemson.
Okay. So with the game they played yesterday, or was that Thursday? The game they played Thursday. Against Cincinnati was a 20-17 win.
Yeah.
What did you see in that game? Because that game, obviously, first game you got to get the kinks out. What did you see in that game from Dylan Raiola, and to give you that confidence going into this next season?
I just like Nebraska, man. Dylan Raiola. You may laugh at me, man, but I know they haven't done much in the last 25 years. But Dylan Raiola is a new thing. He's a new trend. He's not a fad. He is a trend, and people are getting on him. And he is a really good quarterback if you sit down and watch him. A lot of people don't want to sit down and watch Nebraska football anymore because they know what to expect. Unless you're a fan like me and you're going to sit down and watch a whole game. Used to watching Southern Miss, you're going to stay for the whole game. And, man, I just really like how Dylan Raiola handles the ball. He gets down in the trenches, man. He is just a really good quarterback. I don't think he's top 10 Heisman material, but he is definitely a playoff quarterback. And Nebraska may come in third in the Big Ten, but they're going to be the one to get in there and shock everybody.
Okay, I like these picks. I like these picks, but I haven't seen much love from the ACC, man. My pick this year is Clemson. I'm putting a lot on Cade. I think Cade Klubnik is the front runner for Heisman, in my opinion. I think that team is finally adjusted to the NIL era. I know Dabo really wasn't a guy who went out there and spent a lot of NIL money. He focused on transfers and high school guys, and he really didn't want to spend that money. He really didn't want to utilize the new opportunities out there. So I think he finally has found that groove, and I think Cade, this is his year to not only increase his draft stock and cement his name as one of the best quarterbacks in the country, but also hoist that Heisman Trophy in January.
One thing about Cade, and I use this term loosely, Cade, brother, you have to get paid what you were owed. You were overlooked last year. You had 3,600 passing yards. You had 463 yards on the ground with 7 touchdowns. No, I'm not going to say he did have 7 touchdowns. You have the intangibles to be a great QB. Now, you're not going to be Trevor Lawrence, you're not going to be Deshaun Watson, but you can be Cade Klubnik. You could possibly lead Clemson. That you guys have the defense. It's on you to get your respect this year, my guy.
Yeah, most definitely. And they have a defensive lineman, D-tackle, that is amazing.
2 of them.
2 of them. And I think that with those 2 leading that defense, Clemson is going to shock a lot of people simply for the fact that once they get in that 12, it's going to be all up to them because the ACC is the ACC. But we're going to move on to some more notable names for this year. Some key matchups with Gavin and Alvia. Excuse me.
Thank you, Micah. My name is Gavin Blackshear.
And I'm Alvia Walker.
And we are here today to talk about the key matchup between the Texas Longhorns and the Ohio State Buckeyes. Alvia, what you got for me on this game?
I got 3 key players. Jeremiah Smith, oh my goodness, y'all. He had a breakout season going for 76 receptions, 1,315 yards, and 15 touchdowns. Now I have a defensive player that I want to keep an eye on. It's safety Caleb Downs, 48 solo tackles and 2 receptions, with one of those 2 interceptions being against Texas.
Hey, I like that. Hey, you're right, and I love that. But here's the thing: is that I feel that Texas is gonna really start. You said Jeremiah Smith. That's a very key player to the offensive side of the ball.
He said don't play man-to-man on him.
And I get that. I 100%. But the Texas DBs, they are not coming to play this year. Malik Muhammad is here, and he's setting a name for himself. He's arguably projected the top round first 2 picks. He's already projected that. And let's be real. Last year he held him and the Texas DBs. They held Jeremiah Smith the last time they played was in the college football playoff. The score was 28-14, which Ohio State took the win. But Jeremiah Smith only had 1 catch for 3 yards the whole game.
I'm a little nervous about that, but I believe in Jeremiah Smith, and he's the guy.
And I believe that too. I believe he's the guy also. But it's the thing. Is it going to come down? What do you think the game is going to come down to on this? Do you think it's going to be a offensive game between the two, or is it going to be more of on the defensive side of the ball?
Defense. I'm a go with defense. Both sides of the balls.
Both sides of the ball?
Yeah.
I feel like I like that. I really do. I really like that.
Because you got Arch Manning and Julian Sayin.
Arch Manning. Oh.
They're on an equal level.
I feel like Arch Manning is going to be the key guy in this game. Texas defense has improved tremendously over the years. Ohio State has improved tremendously over the years. But Ohio State quarterback, he's gone. Will Howard's not there no more. They have a new quarterback coming in. They have a sophomore quarterback named Julian Sayin, who is very curious to us to see how he's going to play against a strong defense like Texas. Colin Simmons might have a field day with him because we don't even know. Do we really know that, is Ohio State really going to be ready for that defense?
Now, a key player is Anthony Hill Jr. What do you think about him?
Anthony Hill is a ball player. For one, he's an athlete. That's the one thing you can't take away from him is it's Anthony Hill is he's gonna come and show up and show out. There's no argument about that. There's no debate on it because athletes are gonna be athletes at the end of the day. It's whatever the scheme that the coach is gonna give him, and if he goes out there and execute, he's gonna do great.
Colin Simmons?
Colin freaking Simmons, man. Hey, really is just at the end of the day, he's one of the premier edge rushers of the game today. He is always going to go out there and do his job. The one thing I love about Colin Simmons is that his technique, he uses technique first. He is so fundamental with his hands. He's very quick off the ball. He can very, very much well cause disruption on the outside. It'll probably cause Ohio State to try to run the run game a little bit, but Henderson is gone. Judkins is gone. So how are they going to perform on the run?
We don't know. We got to see. But I believe it's going to go down to the wire, though.
Well, let's kick it back over to the guys at the desk.
Thank you, Gavin and Alvia. Coming up after the commercial, our newest member of the show, Cameron Johnson, gets initiated into Southern Miss culture. Also, a sneak peek into an exclusive look at the Pride of Mississippi and how they prepare themselves for the football season. And to wrap up the show, we're going to do our game predictions this year. Don't worry, don't go anywhere. Grab some snacks because we'll be right back.
Community Journalism Center, amplifying truth and combating false information across Southeast Mississippi, reporting what matters and giving control to the community. With our What is True hotline, we're fighting back against misinformation and disinformation, making sure our communities get the facts straight from the source. Through trusted journalism and a dedicated fact-checking process, we ensure every story is accurate and fair. The Roy Howard Community Journalism Center at the University of Southern Mississippi, reporting what matters through the Scripps Howard Foundation. Visit rhcjcnews.com.
Before every first home game here at The Rock, freshmen get the opportunity to participate in Screaming Eagle. Here's new member and freshman Cameron Johnson's experience at Screaming Eagle. wonderful way to get the freshmen excited and ready for the football season. Now, I had the chance to be a part of the Pride of Mississippi's band camp last year. I was able to see how they all prepare for this season. The great sounds, songs, and everything they provide for us on game day was crafted in August. Here's a sneak peek at the short doc that you can find on our YouTube channel, Southern Miss Student Media. Enjoy.
Bands make the game day experience. The fight songs, the alma maters, and the many songs blaring from the stands make college sports feel special. Here at Southern Miss, we have the Pride of Mississippi. Starting out as a 20-piece ensemble in 1920, the Pride has become one of the largest organizations on campus with over 300 members. And to ensure the Pride is fine-tuned for the season, no time is more crucial than band camp.
Well, first off, I'm Travis Higa. I'm the director of the Pride of Mississippi here.
Originally, I'm from Hawaii, from Oahu, Hawaii. I grew up and went to school there all throughout high school. And then following high school, I went to college at UNLV, University of Nevada, Las Vegas, where I did my bachelor's of music education degree. And then immediately went through my master's at the University of Montana, taught middle school band and high school band in Massachusetts, went back to school at Michigan State University, and following that, it led me all the way down here to Southern Miss.
I love to be efficient. I love to be efficient. I love to get what we need to get done correctly. Efficient is not cutting corners, right? You know the difference between that, right? There are so many times where we can get through things and we just forget to do a bunch of things as well.
Efficiency creates the sound Southern Miss students, alumni, and fans hear every Saturday. That sound takes time.
When we talk about efficiency, that starts before a student is set foot on campus. I think when we speak about efficiency, that doesn't happen in the moment. That happens with careful planning that leads up to when new returners come. And if we can accomplish that, efficiency happens just through the process.
Band camp sets the fundamentals. To perform in a Pride, you must be on your P's and Q's, meaning some extra practice time is always necessary.
First on your second hand. First, and then your pinky. And that would be your A natural. And then the last note is B flat, so you lift up that middle finger on your first hand, your middle finger on your first hand. So B natural, then C, and then D flat. Don't try to rush it, just take it one note at a time. So F, F sharp, G, A flat, A natural. My name is Jolie Acevedo, and I am from Araby, Louisiana, which is 2 minutes outside of New Orleans. Since I was a little kid, I wanted to be a violin player and never could fit with it because the strings are too small and I never grew the calluses. But I mean, that's what ties me and my family together was music. My great-grandpa did music, and so did so many of my other family members. So it just kind of led to what I wanted to do professionally. 3, 4, up.
The Pride is the carrier of spirit. Game days, parades, festivals, and pep rallies wouldn't be the same without the Pride.
It's just you need that energy that music gives you, whether it's a marching band or even if you don't have one, playing the music over the radio, it just keeps everybody in high energy.
I feel like the band brings the spirit. Without the band, campus would be dead. Eagle walk, pep rallies, football games, anything the Pride is there, everybody happy. Everybody turned up, drumline, marching, people get crunk off that.
The pride plays such a huge role in the Saturday atmosphere, but its impact sometimes goes unrecognized.
It has been, like, the band world has always been looked down upon, or people would just be like, oh, they ain't band, I would hate to be them, or stuff like that. But really, it's about family, community, we building up on each other, and basically having fun.
Finally, to wrap up the show, we're going to do some predictions for games around the country with a special guest joining us.
Community Journalism Center, amplifying truth and combating false information across Southeast Mississippi, reporting what matters and giving control to the community. With our What is True hotline, we're fighting back against misinformation and disinformation, making sure our communities get the facts straight from the source. Through trusted journalism and a dedicated fact-checking process, we ensure every story is accurate and fair. The Roy Howard Community Journalism Center at the University of Southern Mississippi, reporting what matters through the Scripps Howard Foundation. Visit rhcjcnews.com.
Welcome back from commercials, and now it's time for our predictions, and we have a special guest with us for predictions. Man, go ahead and tell the people about yourself.
Thank y'all for having me. My name is Cage Baum. I am the brand ambassador for Mississippi State's branch of Red Cup News at Red Cup Hill State. My buddy Gabe, back from the 850, brought me in to get some picks in.
Yes, hey, I'm glad to have you here, and right now we're friends, but at about 11 o'clock-ish, I'm going to have to...
Look, I get it. Once it's game time, once that ball gets off the foot, it's go time.
As long as you know.
I get it. As long as you're not Ole Miss.
Hey, of course not. But enough about Southern Miss and Mississippi State. Let's get to these national games. I'm going to start off with Texas versus Ohio State. Since my man Andy is right here, I'm going to start with him. Andy, who we got?
Man, I would love to go with Ohio State, the reigning national champions, but they lost a lot during the offseason. You don't have Keyshawn Judkins. You lost Will Howard. This team, I ain't going to say they're falling apart. I think they are a playoff quality team. But give me somebody that I have a little bit of faith in, a coach I have more faith in, a proven coach, and give me the Texas Longhorns.
Okay, rolling with Sark.
Look, I completely agree. I think there are so many holes that have been unfilled at Ohio State. And I think the only question for Texas is Arch Manning going to deliver? That's really the only thing that needs to be answered. If they can do that and Arch Manning can beat a freshman quarterback from Ohio State, I think it's going to be Horns by 90.
Okay, Gabe, how we feeling?
Oh, I'm just kidding. Listen, man, Texas, they're back on defense. Arch, he has a little bit of start there. He played some, as I like to call him, car salesman in the future. But it's not about that. Julian Sayin does not have any starts. He's thrown 4 passes on the season, because they were in close games. Give me Texas by 20.
Yeah, and I'm going to roll with the Longhorns, too. I like how you said Arch. It depends. The game rests on his shoulders. The game rests on Sayin's shoulders. And I think the chip is a little bit bigger for him than Arch. So I think Arch will be able to lead them to victory. Now, moving to our region with the LSU Tigers versus Clemson. I'm going to start with you, Cage. How we feeling?
Oh, it's a hard one. Death Valley and Clemson is a huge environment. But I do think that Brian Kelly is familiar with the ACC with his time in Notre Dame. I do believe that LSU will make one more play than Clemson. Cade Klubnik is a wonderful quarterback. It's a battle of 2 Heisman quarterbacks, a completely different story than you have with Ohio State and Texas. But I definitely think that LSU makes one more play that will beat Clemson.
Yeah. Gabe?
Let me start you out with a quote by Brian Kelly, who at LSU has lost their last 5 straight openers. Everybody talks about iron sharpening iron. They had iron sharpening butter. And everybody knows hot knife cuts through butter. Let me tell you, let me got the keys of the game. Clemson's D-line. Peter Woods by himself, 14 sacks. LSU's O-line last year gave up 16. Everybody knows this is a 12-game season. 16 sacks in 12 games is going to be a problem. Now, their O-line has lost people with Will Campbell, but how can Nuss lead the guys to get there? He can't do it. It's going to be the real Death Valley. It's going to be loud. Give me Clemson.
Okay, Andy, how we feeling?
Man, this is a game that I am very excited for myself. The Battle of Death Valley. Whoever wins this takes the title, even though it is in Clemson and it does kind of stay there anyway. The Battle for Death Valley, this is a game I like to see. This game, big matchup in 2019 from LSU's fire season that they had. They do not do that in this game. They do not win big in this game. Clemson keeps the Death Valley title. Clemson starts the season out 1-0. Give me Cade Klubnik and the Tigers.
Yeah, I don't want to be a parrot here, but I'm going to go with Clemson too. Earlier in the show, I said Cade was my guy. I said he was my Heisman. I'm going to roll with him here. I love the LSU offense. Adding Barryon Brown from Kentucky is going to give them not even a much-needed punch because they already had the punch. But I believe that, like Gabe said, Peter Woods and that D-line are going to get after Grant. And once he gets under fire, he's going to get a little flustered. So, moving on to our next game, which is Notre Dame versus Miami. Start back here with Andy. How we feeling, man?
I'm going to reference another little old game, the Catholics versus the convicts. Now, I'm not going to go into religion or anything. I don't want to offend anybody. This is a weird game to watch be played on a Sunday. I like Notre Dame. You know, they made it to the national championship last year. They were a fun team to watch. Notre Dame being the blue blood historic team, they were always a fun team to watch. But that coach of theirs, I'm just not sold on him. We saw just how last year when the loss to Northern Illinois, the loss in the national championship, I'm just not buying Notre Dame. They need to be in a conference before they can get any support from me. Give me the convicts down in Miami.
Okay, Cage, rolling to you.
Look, I have the opposite. I mean,
Okay.
I got used down
Oh.
on that one. I know it's controversial. Look, the reason for that being, I don't think Carson Beck has yet met that point at Miami. If he couldn't stay at Georgia for one of the twins, what would make him want to do anything with Miami? You see what I'm saying? Look, unless he's buying me a pair of implants next, I cannot roll with the Miami Hurricanes on this one. I think that, hear me out. I might go to Mississippi State, but I am a little smart. I feel like Freeman has had so many hurdles, like you said, Northern Illinois, coming up short to Ohio State. I feel like this is their season that they're going to jump that hurdle and make some big plays and big names. Look, I know how it is to lose to a small team. Toledo still haunts me to this day. But I truly believe that this will be the year of Notre Dame. They will have a good spot in the CFP. They will make their way into the top 5, probably stay in the top 5, and I got the Irish winning this one big.
Okay, Gabe.
Hey, man, and not even because we're from Florida, but I'm taking the Canes, man. I can give you a reason on why. C.J. Carr is a quarterback for Notre Dame. I would say true freshman as redshirt, but we're going to call him a true freshman. You know, we're going to stop putting that title. Reuben Bain, the D lineman from Miami. He's the total package, man. Inside, outside, which he will play a lot of outside, but he will play some inside the tackle box to stop Jeremiah Love, man. And Micah, as we did last year, you know, gotta roll with the Hurricanes, man.
I see you rolling with the Hurricanes, but I'm going my boy Cage here. I cannot put my trust in Carson Beck. I've seen time and time again Carson Beck make mistakes, make those errors that you like, and I don't think that he's so much of a different quarterback because he missed majority of the spring with a shoulder surgery. He just started playing. He just started practicing. How is he going to go against a Marcus Freeman-led defense, who is a defensive-minded coach, going into a game against a team that's coming off a national championship appearance? I'm going to go with Notre Dame on this.
Well, Micah, listen, before you make your pick, Shannon Dawson has been working with Carson Beck, has some accuracy issues. Those are gone.
I'm fine with that, man. I'm going to lock in my pick. If I had to trust Notre Dame, I'd rather trust Notre Dame than Carson Beck, man.
But also remember, the ACC is not as hard as the SEC. Carson Beck could pop out this year.
True.
I'm not going to sway you.
True.
Not going to try to
But I
persuade
think
you
we're
either way.
forgetting, and now this is a little behind-the-scenes intel, when we were watching the playoffs and, we was talking about games, I said that Notre Dame secondary is going to get them to the championship, and it did. The secondary hasn't really had a lot of drop-off, so I think that secondary is going to prevail again. Now, moving on to our next game, Tulane versus Northwestern. Now, I'm going to start on this side. I'm going to go to Cage first. Lead us off, man.
Man, well, I am very familiar with John Summerall and the way he runs things. We all know him from the Sun Belt. Took back-to-back Sun Belt championships with Troy's football team. All of a sudden leave for Tulane after the retirement of their old head coach. I don't know much about their roster, I'll be honest with you, but I have seen the name popping up in the recruitment and ESPN. I have seen the way that John Summerall recruits and the way he works and the way that he can easily rebuild a program. I don't have enough information on Northwestern other than that they have been on the bottom of the Big Ten. Trust me, I've been there. I know it sucks. Northwestern, you're going to get out of that hole eventually, but not next week against the Green Wave.
Gabe?
Hey, man, give me the Green Wave. Now, look, Northwestern does have Preston Stone. He has a chip on his shoulder, getting replaced for SMU, but that's not going to be enough. They say Rome wasn't built in a day. Northwestern is going to take 7 days, 8 days. Give me Tulane, man. They got my boy Jake Retzlaff from BYU. He's come with a vengeance. And they have a bunch of Southern Miss guys that have transferred over there. You know, I don't know how you feel transferring your rival. You know, we don't do that over here. But good luck to those guys. And give me Tulane by 30.
Yeah. Andy?
Man, I tell you, I'll give you a little pre-show info before we started taping. I looked up this game just because when two private universities meet, I'm excited just to see if they've played each other and how the stats match up. Turns out these teams have played each other all the way back to the 1920s. Tulane holds a 3-1 lead all time over Northwestern, and by the time of the game, I see that being a 4-1 lead. I'm excited. I'm excited for what John Summerall's been doing at Tulane. I don't think Northwestern has it. They just got to sit at the bottom of the Big Ten for a little bit longer. I think the day is coming once they get that new football stadium. Saturday is not the day.
Yeah.
So I'm going with the Green Wave, and I hate to say it as a Southern Miss fan, but roll Wave.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with Tulane as well. I'm gonna jump on that wave. I'm gonna jump on that. I won't say bandwagon, but I'm gonna jump on that wave. I think Northwestern has been reeling for some years. They've been trying to climb their way back into some Big Ten success. We know that they had some early in the 2019-2018 season, somewhere around there. And I just think Tulane, like you said, new head coach, great identity, great starting quarterback. I just think they have it all put together, and they're going to beat Northwestern. Now, for my favorite game, I know this is a Southern Miss sports show, but if y'all didn't know, as a kid, I was an Alabama fan. Alabama versus Florida State. Now, I'm going to start with Andy. Andy, how we feeling?
You know, I'm not a musically inclined person. I've never played an instrument, and I have never been a great singer. I'm not going to sing for y'all today, but I got a little song that I'm going to try to imitate for y'all. Okay. That's going to tell how I see how this game is going. Na, 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 na. Give me the Florida State Seminoles to shock the country and Kalen DeBoer and Doak Campbell Stadium.
Case?
Whew. How do I pass that? Man, being Florida boys, it would be nice to pick Florida State. I do love Mike Norvell. I love the offense and the way that he's worked a ways around. I mean, you've had a few rough years at Florida State to that wonderful 13-0 regular season, of course, following the tragic incident with Jordan Travis, yeah. Wrong Travis. Yeah. But just seeing the way that they've gone all the way to the hilltop, all the way down the mountain, I don't know if it's that quick of a turnaround for Florida State. I think that there is so much riding with Kalen DeBoer and the Bama Crimson Tide that there is just going to be too much pressure on Florida State with newly transferred Boston College quarterback who made a few incidents on Twitter that may have gotten the Tide a little more riled up than usual, you know, with the Nick Saban-led coaching staff. Yeah. That's not an issue, but with Kalen DeBoer, emotions start to fly, Twitter starting to go a little crazy. So I think that Bama will go in there not only with a vengeance, not to say that they have a vengeance, but they got a target on Castellanos.
Yes, sir. And I want to key into what you're talking about with coaching. 2-10 last year for Florida State. That's horrible. You can't do that. We should have made the playoffs, and then you go 2-10. You can't do that. But they did. They brought in Gus Malzahn. They brought in Nebraska's old defensive coordinator, who runs a 3-3-5 scheme, which I feel like it's still not going to be a problem. You know, you got Ryan Williams, Mr. Hollywood. You got Isaiah Horton in the transfer portal, who when he played with Miami last year, they couldn't stop him. And you got Jeremy Bernard, the secret weapon, Rico Scott, freshman red shirt. You got guys like that you're not going to be able to stop. Now, one problem is injuries. Jam Miller, Tim Keenan, and as of probably before we started the show, Jane Roberts, the starting right tackle, will be activated for the Tide. So, you know, they're at full strength. FSU, they're pretty much at full strength. So, that being said, man, give me Bama. You know what? Now I'm going to say it. Bama by 50.
You know, and I'm glad that I can have my time because I really just want to say this. Alabama's coming out with this win. My bias aside, Bama is coming out with this win. I think Castellanos has proven that he is not a guy who can come into this matchup and make a difference. Struggled a lot at Boston College, been benched over there. And I just think that he is not the spark that they will need. And when you look at what we brought in, Alabama brought in, it's just too much. Ryan Williams coming into his sophomore year after having a great freshman year, I think he'll have a different type of mindset. I think that offensive scheme will be more geared towards getting him open and making plays for him downfield. But that'll do it for us here in the studio. Glad y'all could join us for Season 2 of Hub City Game Day. This has been your host, Micah Gibbs, and I'm here with
Andy Beverly.
You know, one more thing before we stop. One more thing.
Go ahead,
Listen,
go
it's
ahead.
college football, man. the greatest thing since sliced bread. Let me tell you something. Got to put my shine on here, man. Got to give my speech. You wake up on Saturday mornings, August to January. What's the first thing on your mind?
Football.
College game day. We got one more with our guy Lee but our game's at 11, so we can't watch it. Shout out to my guy Lee, man. We wish you the best from all of us here. We don't have any headgear. We're not gonna say your shine, but we wish you the best, man.
Yes, always, man. Always love to pay homage to, the greats, and Lee Corso is one of the greats. But that'll wrap up this show. See y'all next week when the Golden Eagles take on the Jackson State Tigers here at the Rock.